The Foundation for Safer Athletic Fields for Everyone, in partnership with the Sports Turf Managers Association, is proud to present Sports and Recreation Fields, Safety First, a video outreach program intended to educate the playing field users on some of the basics of what makes an athletic field safe and playable. It is our sincere hope that after watching, you will be armed with what you need to do a basic field evaluation before you or your team steps on the field.
Hi, I'm Ross Kirkcab, Certified Sports Field Manager and owner of Championship Sports Turf Systems. For 30 years I was a head turf manager in professional football, and now I've dedicated my career to improving our nation's sports surfaces and facilities. At the end of the video, there'll be links to a printable field safety checklist that you can download from the Safe Foundation's website.
The first and most important thing you want to look at when you arrive for a game or practice is the playing field itself. Walk out and scan the playing field area. Is there any trash or debris on the field? Has any field maintenance equipment like rakes or shovels been accidentally left out on the field? Walk around the entire field slowly and get a feel for the playing surface and the surroundings. Remember, player momentum often takes a player at high speed into areas adjacent to the playing field. Look at the artificial grass fibers. They should not be excessively laid over or kinked. This can be a sign that the turf is old and worn out, or that proper maintenance is not being conducted on a regular basis. Synthetic fields do require maintenance. There should be no excessively worn areas in the turf. Look for any rips, tears, flaps, or burns on the synthetic turf. Artificial turf is typically installed in 15-foot wide strips across the field that are glued or sewn together, or both. Find and inspect these seams to ensure that they are firmly anchored and attached correctly. There should be no visible gaps between sections of turf, and the seam and infill should not create a depression in the surface. A good seam is hard to find. One of the most important parts of a properly maintained artificial infill field is the depth and evenness of the infill material. Most, but not all, artificial turf fields have infill materials. Some employ a padded layer to absorb impacts without infill, but most use some kind of crumb rubber or other granular material infill that is embedded in the fibers at the base of the turf. Over time, infill material gets kicked off the field or stuck to players in their uniforms and can reduce the specified depth and evenness of the infill. Depending on the field's use levels, it has been estimated that as much as 2,000 pounds of walk-off rubber can be removed from a single field per season. Manufacturers of turf fields specify both depth and evenness of the infill material. And while it is not practical for the field user to do a technical infill depth evaluation, you can get indications of a poorly maintained field if the field is bumpy or uneven as you walk across it. Infill at insufficient depth will make the playing surface feel hard. A more formal measurement of the infill depth is taken with an inexpensive tool like the Floor Test FT50. Simply insert the prongs into the infill and press them down into the backing. Make sure the prongs are sitting on a flat surface to get a good reading. Slide the bar down to the top of the infill, not the top of the fibers. Remove the tool and take the reading. Remember, different artificial turf fields from different manufacturers will have different infill depth specifications. The manufacturer of the field can supply the infill depth and evenness specifications. Next, determine if there are any inlays in the turf, or if all the lines and logos are painted. An inlay is a colored section of turf that is cut into the turf surface to eliminate the need to paint. Essentially, the turf is colored, not painted. First, the inlays create more seams on the field because they are cut in after the field is installed. Make sure all inlay seams are anchored well and not showing gaps. Next, some inlays develop low infill levels after the field is groomed several times. Make sure there is sufficient infill material in all inlays. The infill depth should be the same as the rest of the surface. If there are no inlays in the turf surface and the field is periodically painted for markings and decorative logos, check the areas that are painted. Paint can build up in the turf infill. This may cause a turf field to become unduly hard and lose the capacity to drain. As you inspect the infill, look for any dirt, debris, or other materials that may have migrated into the infill. These can cause similar issues to paint buildup in the infill. Turf hardness, infill depth, and evenness testing are technical procedures and should be regularly conducted by the facility owner or operator in accordance with the field manufacturer's specifications. Any maintenance procedures used outside of the manufacturer's specifications can reduce or even void a manufacturer's warranty. This can be important if you are considering clearing snow off a field, for example. A significant concern on artificial turf fields in the warmer months is the surface getting quite hot under certain conditions. Published surface temperatures have been reported at over 150 degrees Fahrenheit and even over 175 degrees Fahrenheit in extreme cases. The observed temperatures are typically only on the surface and do not generally equate to the air temperature that the athlete will be playing in. Still, the hot surface can be a concern for skin burns on players who come into contact with the surface, and even to the feet, as these hot surfaces will transfer heat to the soles of the cleats and shoes. Artificial turf fields tend to heat up on hot, sunny, clear days with light winds and low humidity. Noon to 3 p.m. is typically when these hot surface temperatures are seen, and some relief may be gained scheduling play in the mornings and evenings in the warmer months. The surface temperatures can change as rapidly as conditions change. Watering the field has been shown to cool down the surface significantly, but only for up to 20 to 30 minutes in most cases. Surface temperatures can be measured with a simple infrared temperature gun available in the tool section of most home improvement stores and are generally around $30. Heat-related illness is an important issue for the athlete, coaches, trainers, and referees. Everyone involved in sports should be educated about it. The Corey Stringer Institute, in partnership with the University of Connecticut, has developed a resource website to educate and increase awareness about heat-related illnesses. The bottom line for you, the field user, is that if you see something of concern on an artificial turf field, let both coaches know about it. Field safety is not a competitive issue. Take a picture or short video of the concern with your phone and email it to the facility owners or operators.
Remember, a safe and playable field is best for everyone involved in the game. By taking a few minutes when you arrive for a game or practice to do a basic field inspection, you have gone a long way to making the day more enjoyable for everyone.